Hey there everybody, welcome to AutoBears and also welcome to the UK launch of the all-new Honda E. In 2017, Honda surprised us with two electric concept cars, the Sports EV and the Urban EV. Now the Urban EV would later become the Honda E concept, and then now we've got this, the full production version. And follow me for this launch review of the all-new Honda E. When it comes to styling, there is no denying that the new Honda E is just a bloody brilliant looking car. I mean, it's fabulous. Now, I'm not really a paternal person, but if this was a baby, I'd be just kind of pinching its cheeks and giving them a bit of a smush. I mean, it looks really cute and adorable. Now, it has taken some kind of inspiration from the Mark I Civic, and it has got a very retro look from the outside. I love the fact that the front and the rear are mirrored and they've got the same style circular lights. It is very distinctive and actually very simple in its design format. But it does look like a concept car even in its production version, but you can easily tell as well that it's an EV, especially with that kind of bespoke look. But I absolutely love the exterior of the Honda E, and it comes in 5 colours, and click in the top right hand corner and choose your favourite colour of the Honda E. But whilst the plane's taken off and taken some lucky people on holiday, I think it's now time we have a look at the inside of the Honda E. So sat in the front of the Honda E, you are greeted by a very bespoke cockpit. I've never been in a car like this before. Now the designers wanted to go with kind of a home lounge feel, and it definitely feels like that with this fake wood we've got in the cabin. I do recall seeing this on some TVs I had in the 1980s when I was a wee boy. And then we've got no fewer than 6 screens in here. So we've got 2 on the outer edge, which are actually your wing mirrors, because there are no traditional wing mirrors on the Honda E. You only get the little cameras just on the outside of the door, and that actually reduces drag. And the image from them is absolutely brilliant. It is surprisingly clear, and well, I'm not going to experience it today, but it is got a special coating, or has got a special coating on it, so if you are driving in adverse weather, it will just allow the rain and muck to just bead right off. And then we've got a display in front of the steering wheel, which is all your driver data display. And then we've got 2 12-inch screens, which are both touch screens, and they are for your infotainment system and also your connectivity. And what you can do is you can do things like swap the screens around whilst you're driving and look at things such as your sat nav, and also go in Hello Honda, or yeah, I think it's Hello Honda, to get your information up and use the connectivity that's on the Honda E. And then the last screen we've got is actually the rear view mirror. Now, as it is in its traditional mirror setup, and the view is absolutely brilliant. But when you pull the little lever here, and actually the camera is turned on, or the ignition's turned on, you get a screen projecting on here from a camera in the rear spoiler. So again, that is a very unique feature. Now that one might take a little bit of getting used to, but I'll have a go whilst I am on the drive. But because it's an electric car and there's no transmission tunnel going through the car, it means you've got an almost completely flat floor. I mean, there's a little bit of a hump here, but it does mean you can go from the driver's seat to the passenger seat really easily. There's no kind of lifting your legs over the transmission tunnel. And the quality in here is actually not too bad. Yes, there is a lot of hard plastics, but they feel of a good quality and should stand the test of time. The actual controls feel well damped, and they've got a nice feel to them. And then we have got a lot of fabric here on the door panels, and also the actual seats themselves, they feel really nice. Again, it just adds to that kind of homely feel to them. Now when it comes to cubby spaces, again, it's not too bad. We've got some okay sized door bins. You can get a small to medium sized bottle of drink in there. We've got a little pouch just underneath all the connectivity inputs for your HDMI, 2 USBs. You've even got a 3-pin socket. There's a little pouch there where you can put your phone and use things like Apple CarPlay, wireless CarPlay and Android Auto. And then on the center section here, we've got a little leather pulley, which gives you 1 additional cup holder, and you've got 2, actually no, you've got 3 more back here as well, so that's very handy. And then finally, we have got the glove box, which is of an okay size. It's not lined with any fabric, so any loose items will rattle around a bit, but the book pack itself is quite thick. Also, the door bins don't have any fabric in them as well, so again, any loose items will rattle around. But sitting here in the front of the Honda E, it feels special, it feels unique and bespoke. The steering wheel looks lovely. Again, it is a 2-spoke steering wheel, and I first experienced that with the Honda Jazz Crossstar. And if you click up in the top right-hand corner, you can watch my review of that hybrid hatchback. But you can control things on here, so you've got things like radar guided cruise control, and on the left-hand side you've got things for the volume and controlling things when you've got your phone connected, and also use things like voice control. Also, you've got the 3 buttons there, so you can go through the driver display whilst you're driving, and it is really easy to use and very intuitive. And yeah, in terms of the driving position, I'm actually really comfortable. I think some people who've got longer legs might feel a bit of support underneath lacking, but the steering has got both rake and reach adjustment, so you can get the ideal or perfect driving position. But yeah, I'm really loving this interior. I'm going to need to spend a bit of time with it, getting used to this infotainment system. And I would personally recommend, if you've got a passenger, let them have their own screen and kind of put things like the sat-nav input or go through radio stations, etc. when you're on the move. But all in all, yeah, I really like it in here, and I think it's time we have a little seat in the back. Sat in the back of the Honda E, as you can see, it's a little bit cramped back here, but should be okay for 4 adults on a short journey. Now that driver's seat is set to my driving position. I'm 5'7" tall and 5'7" wide, and as you can see, I've not got a huge amount of knee room, but I can just about sit here comfortably, and headroom, I'm just about touching the ceiling. So anyone over 6 foot might definitely struggle here in the Honda E. Now the Honda E is strictly a 4-seater. There's no way you're going to get anyone sat in that middle seat. So again, 4 adults should be absolutely fine, as again, for short distances. In terms of cubby space as well, we've got kind of a cup holder here in the door, and we have got the aeroplane style pockets on the backs of the seats. Very apt to say, as a plane's taken off from Heathrow. And then we've got kind of one of the cup holders as well you could probably use in the back of the Honda E whilst you know, you're sat here and nobody's using it. And then yeah, actually that's kind of about it. Now in terms of features, what I do like is that the rear interior lights are actually controlled with a button here on the B pillar, so that's quite a unique function, not having a button up here on the ceiling. And you have got 2 USB charging ports in the back here, so if you have got 2 kids here with their mobile devices, they are able to charge them. But in terms of quality as well, there is a lot of fabric here on the door, and it's actually nice and squidgy, so you can just kind of sit yourself there and rest your arm. Now I've not actually gotten the window down yet, but we'll have a little look and see if it goes all the way down. You know what, click in the top right hand corner and have a guess if it opens all the way down or not. Okay, I'll give you a second and we'll play some footage. But there you go, that's the back of the Honda E. So it's not perfect, but you know what, for 4 adults on a short journey, it should be absolutely fine. And you have got 2 ISOFIX supports as well on these outer seats. So yeah, that's the back of the Honda E. Let's have a little look at the boot. Opening the boot of the Honda E presents you with 171 litres of space, which isn't a huge amount. In fact, my Up GTI has 251 litres of space as a comparison. But in terms of usability, it has got a nice flat load bay, and it is actually nice and square, so you could possibly get a weekend bag in there or a week's worth of shopping. But also you have got 2 bags in here which feature charging cables, so you can use a 3-pin socket or use a home charger. But all in all, in terms of features, it is a little bit lacking. We have got some tethering hooks, but that's pretty much it. But I do like the little LED lights in there, which are quite unique and very distinctive. And also you have got a couple of shopping hooks there, as you can see, you've attached your cables to. But of course you can put the rear seats down so you can get a bit of additional space. But all in all, if you're looking at a practical electric vehicle, then something like the electric Mini or the Renault Zoe will have a larger boot. But you know what, in terms of quirkiness, you can't beat the Honda E, and I think it's now time we take it for a drive. So once you start moving in the Honda E, first impressions are very unique. I mean, this is a bespoke EV vehicle from Honda. So firstly, there's the visibility, which is actually really good. You've got that nice boxy shape.
Arrive at the fire point.
Do apologise, I am going to
drive to highlighted route.
I am going to have the sat-nav kicking in every so often because there's like a preset route on these launches. So visibility is really good. The A-pillars aren't too thick, and I don't think you'll find yourself looking around them at junctions. Looking over your shoulder. On this particular car, we have got blind spot monitoring, but the C-pillar is a little bit thicker than expected, but because of the blind spot, it should be absolutely fine. And then rear visibility, even with the traditional mirror, is absolutely fine. And of course, you can just flick that little lever and you get the camera on board to give you an additional view, or a different view from straight out the back of the car. So it is very unique. And then when you get moving, of course, this being an electric car, you've got no engine noise. It's nice and silent. There's a little bit of tyre roar coming into the cabin, but because this is a bespoke EV and not like a regular car turned into an EV like the MG ZS EV, it means that Honda have been able to focus on the road noise, tyre noise and wind noise and do what they can to kind of isolate them away from the cabin. And I think they've actually done a nice job. I'm driving about 25 miles an hour, just going over a little sleeping policeman here in this village, and it feels nice and quiet, nice and relaxing. Also, maneuverability is really good as well. Steering is incredibly light. But for a first impression, as a cute little EV, yeah, it ticks all the boxes. When it comes to trim levels, there are two to choose from. There's the entry level and the advanced, and I've got the latter. And in terms of kit, you've got everything that you can imagine. The only real thing you pay extra for is metallic paint. But in terms of kit, you've just got so much. I mean, I've got front and rear parking sensors, 360-degree camera, self-parking, climate control, radar-guided cruise control, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless CarPlay as well. I mean, it's got everything that you can imagine, and I think most people will probably go for the higher spec version of the Honda E. I think they'll just really enjoy that extra bit of kit and luxury. Also, if you go for the higher spec, go for the advanced, you do get a little bit more power, and as a result you also get a little bit more range. So personally, I would say pick the top of the range one, because you get all the kit that you would ever want, and you know what, you still got a brilliant looking car. Of course, if you want to save yourself just a little bit of extra money, of course you can go for the lower down one, but it does mean you get a little bit less kit and a little bit less power. So power comes from a 35.5 kilowatt per hour battery. So power wise is the equivalent of about 150 brake horsepower, but more impressively, over 300 Newton meters of torque. I've forgotten the exact figure and I'm trying to multitask, so you'll see them coming up at the bottom of the screen. But performance is actually really good, and you'll see them again coming up at the bottom of the screen for the entry-level version and also the advanced version of the Honda E, because it has got more power and as a result as well a little bit more range. But the power is actually really impressive. Of course,
At the roundabout, take the second exit to the B478.
Will do. With electric cars, it's not necessarily the performance figures, it's just how it gets there. You put your foot down and it just keeps on pulling. Okay, yes, it's not Tesla levels of performance, but it is a lot of fun. Now, when it comes to charging your Honda E, there are 3 times to remember. So if you're using a built-in charger at home, it'll take just over 4 hours to charge your E to 100%. If you're using the 3-pin socket or wall socket to charge your Honda E, then it will take just over 18 hours to get it to 100%. And if you're doing a longer journey, more than say 140 miles, you can use a faster 50 kilowatt charger, and you'll go from around 10 or 20% to 80% in just 30 minutes. So it does actually mean that the Honda E comes with a lot of flexibility when it comes to a long distance journey. You might only have to add an additional half an hour, 45 minutes just to charge up and top up before you carry on. So in this day and age, which actually is really good with the flexibility of electric cars.
Be in the left lane, then keep left.
I will be. It does mean that the Honda E has got a lot of flexibility when doing a longer journey, which is definitely something you want in this day and age, even though it is a car that's designed for the urban environment. So what's the ride and handling like in the Honda E? Well, the ride is really nice. It's very compliant. You got independent suspension all round, so it feels like a bigger car than what it actually is. Now, it's not a light car. It's about 1,500 kilos. Of course, this being an EV, so you got all the batteries underneath. But It deals with the bumps and imperfections really well. I'm driving over not the nicest road surface. Here comes a manhole cover. And you could feel it, but you know what? I couldn't hear any booms or any kind of resonations coming into the cabin. It's not uncomfortable. It's actually a very comfortable little EV car. And not only that, because this is a dedicated EV or a bespoke EV, Honda would have looked at things like road noise, tyre noise and wind noise. Of course, you're not going to have much in the way of wind noise from the wing mirrors. They're non-existent. But actual tyre noise is really well managed. It's not that intrusive at all. Yes, if you go over a poor road surface, it is the only thing you'll actually hear. It's actually really good.
Take the second exit to Windsor Road.
Will do. And that brings me on now to the handling, so I've got to go over a roundabout. I'll go round a roundabout.
Take the second exit to Windsor Road.
Will do. So the steering is really light. Of course, it's electrically assisted. It's not got the hugest amount of feel, but you know what you're doing in the car. You know where those front tyres are going to go. And because it's got that really tight turning circle, low speed manoeuvrability if you need to park is an absolute doddle. And it is a genuinely fun car to drive. I am really enjoying it. And that's the thing as well. I mean, you could just whip this round in a circle and you can actually bring a tear to a London taxi's eye with the way that this thing does a U-turn or just goes around in circles. It is hugely impressive. So yeah, when it comes to ride and handling, I think Honda have done a brilliant job with the Honda E. It's a really fun, comfortable EV car. Now the Honda E does come with a couple of drive modes. You've got normal and sport. So as you can imagine, if you put it into sport mode, which is activated by a switch down here on the center console, you get a little bit of a red plume over the little E Honda, but that should give a boost now to the performance of the Honda E. Now I'm gonna have to wait a moment because there is actually a tractor in front of me doing some cutting, but if there's no cars there we go. Oh wow, that was instant. Oh, that was brilliant. But the problem is when you get addicted to this, it is gonna cost you, and it costs you in charge and it costs you in miles. There is an additional button, however, on this center console, and it's a little picture of a foot going up and down on a pedal. And if I press that, it essentially engages the regenerative braking, and what should essentially happen
mile, keep right to Maidenhead Road.
I will do. What essentially happens is you just need to use one foot on one pedal, and that's the accelerator pedal, because as soon as you take your foot off, the regen braking is quite abrupt and will slow you down. It's great for charging up the battery, but it also means it takes a little bit of effort away from you from braking, so it just makes it a bit.
To Maidenhead Road.
Will do. It just makes things a lot easier when it comes to driving, and also just adds those extra few hundred yards at a time if you kind of use it coming up to a junction. So it is very helpful there. Okay, another little thing I've noticed that I really like is as you're driving along and you've got the lane departure assist on, there's a little picture of the car on one of the menus, and when you indicate to overtake, it disengages the lane assist. But not only that, you can see a little indicator working on the little car on the display. That's actually really quite fun. I do like that. It's the little things on cars like this that you do appreciate. Right, I've just come to a complete standstill because the sat-nav lady, she is interrupting quite a bit. So as a conclusion, this is a brilliant first effort from Honda. They knew exactly where they wanted to pitch and aim the Honda E. It's not designed for doing long distance journeys. It's for those who do short commutes, town driving, perhaps for little fleets that do deliveries within town. So it will be perfect for those kind of environments. Yes, it has got the ability to do longer distances because you have got that fast charger, so you can get from 20 to 80% in just 30 minutes of charge. So it does add a lot more flexibility to the E. but as a first effort, it is really good. I love the design, both exterior and interior. The infotainment system, as bold as it is, does just need to be sharpened up a little bit. It just needs to get a little bit faster in order to compete with the likes of what you get from Mini and Renault with the Zoe. But in terms of the drive and the ride, it's really nice. It's very fun to drive, and that turning circle, as I just experienced there, is an absolute hoot. So for a first effort from Honda, it's a really good one. They have set the bar for themselves, and they can only beat it themselves. Now, yes, price-wise, there are rivals that can better it in terms of range and in terms of practicality, because that's another area where the E falls down compared to rivals. But if you really want the Honda E, you're going to love it. I think it is going to meet all your expectations, and it'll be an absolutely perfect little electric car for you. If, however, you want something that has more range, it has more practicality, and you're going to use it more, you're thinking more with your head rather than your heart, then the E's not going to be the right car for you. You're better off going for something like a Renault Zoe, which has got the range or something, and capacity to do what you want. But yeah, as a first effort, I really like it. I think on a personal note, with my lifestyle, in terms of the fact that my main work is 3 miles away, it fits my life perfectly. Even if I was doing any launches or anything like that, I mean, I've driven 60 miles to go to a launch. That does mean that I could get there, charge it up whilst everything's going on, and then drive home at the end of the day. And the fact that you can charge it to 100% in 4 hours, or using the fast charger and having that flexibility of getting it up to 80% in half an hour, does mean it will be perfect for most people's lives. And that really is what it's all about. So I really do love the Honda E. Yes, it is flawed in terms of practicality, in terms of some of the infotainment and usability, but in terms of effort, for a first effort for an electric car, hats off to Honda. I think it's brilliant. It's so cute. I used the word adorable at the beginning, and it's an adorable little car. And I mean, I've got 75% charge here, so I'm going to head back now and take some photos and get everything up on social media. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it. I can't wait to actually have one of these for a week and see what it's like to live with. That's going to be the key thing. But for a first effort, well done, Honda. Okay, whilst I'm still stationary, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed my launch review of the new Honda E. If you've got any questions regarding the car, please put them down in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notifications icon to let you know when I, Dave the Auto Bear, bring out a new video. Of course, I'm on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and always advise you follow me on there for additional content, including live clips and still images. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the Honda E and look forward to driving more of this in the future. But guys, have yourselves a great day, keep yourselves safe, maintain your social distancing, and I will catch you all in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.